Hello, welcome back to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. This is your host, Iggy. Yay. Thank you for that. Well, guys, this is somewhat of a part two of the AlaMo. I wasn't able to get all this in the previous video because of limited space. So let's take a look at what we have here. This is the AlaMo mission and compound walls from the official Davy Crockett at the Alamo playset, originally produced by Marx in 1955 and sold in the Christmas catalog of Sears in that same year, 1955. It's tied in with the Walt Disney's Davy Crockett program. It became wildly popular with kids back in the 50s. Virtually every kid had a coonskin hat back in those days. I meant to call my brother up and ask him about it because he I think he was 11 when Davy Crockett came on television. I've never heard him talk about it before, though, but he was never really into history or comic books or army men or anything like that. When he was a kid, he just liked baseball, and that was about it. But at any rate, my other brother was 4 when that it came, so I don't think he would have known much about it at the time. So what we have here is a selection of BMC figures that came with their Alamo playset. And these powder blue ones are also BMC. They originally were gray in color, and I spray painted them this sky blue or baby blue color. You can see if I take one of these that it's a gray color instead of blue. It looks like the paint job is held up pretty well over the years. These figures have been in storage for 20 years, and they don't have a whole lot of chipping. I noticed there's a little chip on the flag right there, but basically the paint held up pretty well. This is the gateway, and it shows Fess Parker, King of the Wild Frontier, as Davy Crockett. Of course, you notice it does not say Walt Disney's Davy Crockett like the original did. Now, the BMC set, of course, came with these figures, but so did this set here. This Davy Crockett set featured more of these figures than it did the original Marx figures. It just had a small handful of Marx Shaco Mexicans, and most of them were these BMCs. So let's take a look at these. We'll look at the walls too. I should show you that. The interior. Now here's something that's kind of comical. As you can see here, it looks like these things are levitating here, and a stairway to heaven. Stairway that goes nowhere, basically. Well, heaven's not nowhere, but I mean, you know what I mean. On the earthly plane of existence, this stairway leads to nothing. The reason for that is, let me see if I can take one of these off. Nope, it's not going to let me. You can see here what looks like Tootsie Rolls sticking through the wall. Mini Tootsie Rolls. This is supposed to have 4 holes drilled in the wall here, and then a rampart you clip onto the on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. See that? I don't know if you can see that. But a rampart would sit here, and I tested it out because I thought, well, it's probably too small for the figures, but they seem to be okay there. This is Santa Ana, of course. It's quite a hat he's got there. For some reason, he looks like a rooster. I don't think that was his original intent. He sort of fancied himself the Napoleon of the West. Although he did defeat Spain when Spain attempted to reclaim Mexico, you can see Mexico declared its independence from Spain, and Spain made an effort, I think in 18, was it 26, 1828? It's been a long time since I've had a South American history. Well, actually, Mexico is not part of South America. It's part of North America. But culturally, I suppose it's more South American. That flag there, 1824, represents the first constitution of the Republic of Mexico. Mexico had established a republic, and it was a federation of states, and they drew up a constitution, and this was the first flag, or actually that was the first constitution, was 1824, and the reason the Texans were flying this is because they wanted Mexico to honor the Constitution of 1824. However, Santa Anna, I think, had become a dictator by 1836, and the Texans were protesting against him and also flying that flag to show that they were dissatisfied with what he was doing. Like I said, my Mexican history is a little faded at this time. I'm not boasting or anything, but I've read thousands of books on history. You would think I was a genius if I could remember just 1% of them. I was looking at some of my books the other night and realized I couldn't remember a damn thing about it. And I started reading it, and I'm going, so that because of that, when I get a book, I sign the front of it, and then when I'm finished reading it, I sign the back, because many, many times I've started to read a book that I've already read. I can't remember anything. I got a really crappy memory. You guys probably know that because I conflate information, dates and things. And for instance, I said that Fort Mims was attacked by the Cherokee. It was as one of my friends pointed out, it was the Creek that attacked Fort Mims, which was, I think, in Alabama. It's about 35, 40 miles north of Mobile, Alabama. And it was in 1813, so that would have been during the Second War of American Independence, or the War of 1812, as we like to call it. Anyway, I'd like to be able to boast that I know a lot about history, but having read the books, that doesn't mean anything if you don't internalize the information, if you don't remember it, or are able to recall it without too much difficulty. And I, of course, I have a vague understanding of things, but the details are pretty shaky because, like I said, my memory just doesn't work that way. I wish I had a photographic memory. That would have been awesome. Sure would have made writing papers in college a lot easier. I had to look up every damn thing. Anyway, I'm starting to get off the track here. I'm talking about these fellas. And like I said, this set here did come with these, except It did come with a few other figures as well from the original Marx set, but not many. I think it was just a handful of them. I like the way these came out. The original gray, I think this is a set that I bought extra, and I don't think that this set came with this many figures. So this probably represents a second set that I bought. Since there's 2 flag bearers, I'm guessing that that's the case. I imagine there was 1 flag bearer per set. Now this, the mission that you see, the chapel rather, I should say, not the mission, the chapel, that this part here, what do they call that? The pediment? I'm not sure what the name of that is, but that was added after the battle. So the BMC chapel is more correct in its appearance than this Marx one, but this this pediment, I think that's what that word is was added the year later, and so for all these years we've seen that on the chapel building, so we just assume that's what was there in the beginning. When I do my next video showing the BMC chapel, you'll see what I mean, because it correctly does not have that on the top of it. But for many of us, if you took that away, it wouldn't look right, because we're so used to, like, John Wayne's version of the AlaMo and Walt Disney's version, they did have that on there. So we talked about the levitating buildings, and I explained it was because of these pegs and the rampart that you snap on, which is actually a rather clever design feature that they included here. Unfortunately, they included quite a number of these, and there's no holes drilled here on any of these. Let's get this one here. You see that? So that's rather problematic. Now there's one where they did draw, yikes. There's one where they did drill holes in it, but it's the wrong one. See that? And they only included 2 Tootsie Rolls and no rampart for them to stand on. But this is the other piece that they show for the fort. So he's got some small. You can see that it's a very small scale. If I hold up one of the soldiers, you can see right away that he's not fitting through that door. Even little kids might have to duck for that. Let's take a look at what the other side looks like. Now you still can get this AlaMo set. The tin litho AlaMo set is still available, and you can get it at various places. I think I saw it on Classic Toy Soldiers website, where it's available for purchase. And as far as these poles go, that was part of the architecture of the early Southwest. They would have poles sticking out of the adobe building to hold up the roof. And I remember buying some ladders, and these came with it. I think they include, I can't remember how many were included, but so I don't know if those are still available, but I did at one time have an extra set of them because of that. Okay, guys, that's all I've got for you this time. And let's move this flag bearer out of the way so you can see the front of the chapel. And it still looks like that to this day. So this has a very strong nostalgic appeal for me. I never had this playset when I was a kid, but the kids up the street had this. And I remember sitting, it's funny when we were playing with the Marx playsets, the play basically was setting it up. We would spend an hour setting it up, and then we'd get bored and shoot rubber bands at it. And then Mark and Neil's mom would come in and say, "You boys better pick that mess up." But I think part of the problem why these are no longer popular with kids like they were when I was a kid is that toy manufacturers started issuing figures that you could move their legs and arms, and they were slightly larger, like G.I. Joe, the second version of G.I. Joe, not the soldier G.I. Joe, but the fantasy G.I. Joe. I don't know what you call them. Hall of Fame G.I. I don't know what they call. I never got into that. I like the soldier G.I. Joe. Anyway, probably pissing some of you off by saying that, but you like what you like. And if other people don't like it, that you don't like it, then you should be sensitive to other people's feelings, but at the same time, you should not cave in on something just because someone else criticizes you for it. All right, that's all I got for you this time. Like I said, this is probably several sets or another set added on to this. And these, of course, were a set I bought separately. These actually might be the originals. I think the originals I had were in gray, and I painted them. There's a chip right there. To chip off the old block, I guess. Or in this case, the old cog. I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you for getting Iggy with it, guys. I really do appreciate you coming along on this journey that I've undertaken. It's been a couple years now. It seems hard to believe. I thought I would have quit already. There's been many times that I've felt like quitting because the response to my videos was not what I was hoping for. In fact, not even close. But I always was unrealistic about things. And I remember starting a business, talking my brother into starting a business together. And I invested $10,000 in it. But my poor brother invested thousands of hours making paintings that I turned into prints and were hoping to sell. And it didn't quite work out like I thought. I always have a lot of ideas, and I think that they're going to be a success, and so far none of them have turned out too well. So Iggy's kind of poor. But anyway, I can't complain too much. If I didn't buy all this stuff, I would have a house by now, right? So anyway, we make choices. Have to live with them. All right, guys, that's it for me. I will see you next time, and I'm going to talk about some CTS AlaMo Mexican Cavalry and a BMC chapel. In fact, I got it sitting right here. I could probably just show it to you real quick. Notice it's more to scale. It's still a little bit small, but it's much more to scale than this one here. However, this one here has a stronger nostalgic pull, like I said. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. I should say goodbye.